just speaking to your mic. Let me just see if I got it quick.
Hello. You need to get my level.
Cool. Yeah.
Can we maybe have the microphone a bit more to
This
that
way?
side?
Like this side, so.
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay, cool.
Okay, out of his space. Okay.
And
That's
can you
perfect.
do the same with yours? Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
And don't
Throw me
move
with
it.
something if I moved. All right, Adam, you ready?
Yeah.
Shall we do this?
Come on now, let's do this. My speed. So,
In the place to be today, my man Adam Thompson. No, let's get that right. Adam Thomason.
Yes,
Adam, welcome to Urban Edge.
man, it's good to be here.
Adam, talk to us. You are here representing the Red Revolution movement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the Red Revolution movement?
Okay, contrary to popular belief, it's not a communist movement. It is a Christ-centered movement, and it's just centering around Jesus Christ, red being the blood of Christ that unites us all, and revolution, talking about the way that we should be living life cross-culturally, cross-economically, to cause change in society together instead of separate.
Now, where does this come from? How did this come about, this whole Red Revolution movement? Something must have happened in your life, or you must have experienced something. Tell us about it.
Yeah. Long story short, I was born and raised from Detroit, Michigan, and, I grew up in a very segregated environment, even inside the church. And I saw just from living my life and looking at the scriptures that the Lord didn't call us to live blacks over here, whites over here, Native Americans over here, Asians over here. He called us to live together. And so as I started to navigate the Christian subculture, I realized how we have allowed the norms of society to really continue on those walls, that have been set up, whether it's slavery, Native American banishment. So the Lord just showed me scriptures that the gospel really supersedes not only our salvific call, but it supersedes our ethnicities as well. And so it really transformed my life when I got to the South. And, you experience racism, whether it's in relationships, in jobs, class, and this is from the Christian subculture. So I just felt like, I need to speak out when it comes to the gospel to unite people to cause change.
I think it's something that's relevant even on the African continent. We may not be segregated as much along racial lines, but definitely along ethnicity lines. So how do you propose then that as Christians we do breach the gap?
Yeah, no, that's good. I think when you look at Jesus, you got to take a number of things into consideration. Like what he did is he incarnated himself into other cultures. He died to his quote-unquote preferences, which was, he was the eternal God. And to redeem man, he incarnated himself into the subculture of man. And then he humbled himself to learn from man. And this is the God of the universe that knows everything, And so to bridge the gap, I think we got to die to ourselves. Someone has to die. We got to be willing to humbly learn from one another, even those we hate, And then as Christ became an advocate for us, we got to become an advocate for one another, not just those that look, dress, and talk like us, but those who may have offended us for the sake of the gospel.
Now, you've got an interesting tagline. I like it. It says, Christ infiltrating culture.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Man, it really is taking the skill sets and the tools that you have to flesh that out in culture, to be a witness for Jesus Christ. And so many times you grow up, or I grew up with the mentality that the only way you could cause change is being a preacher, an evangelist, or a missionary. So if you were like a DJ, a rapper, or, some type of artist, I guess you was out in the cold, that was the devil's tools,
But isn't it the devil's tool?
No, it's not. The reality is that, God created it and he made it good. Man has distorted it, And so there is a remnant of believers who have the same skill sets and talents, but can use it to glorify the Lord. So we use that in society. We infiltrate and exalt Jesus.
I'm hanging out with Adam Thomason of the Red Revolution movement. We are talking about infiltrating the culture, Christ infiltrating the culture that we find ourselves in now. I was going to ask you to give us some practical examples of what it means to join this Red Revolution. It doesn't mean you buy a T-shirt and you pump your fist. Well, what does it mean, man? Because very often, one of the problems I have with movements and this kind of thing
Yeah.
is, and not necessarily with yours, but is that often we talk and we talk generically
Yeah.
or we
Yeah.
talk not specifically.
Mhm.
And so people leave pumped,
Yeah.
amped, and then they get out there and they're like, okay, so now what?
Yeah, yeah,
So do I need to buy a T-shirt? Do I need to sign a petition?
yeah. Yeah, definitely, because I get the money from that. No, no, man, it's not buying a T-shirt or buying a study. It really is understanding the vision and values, one from the scriptures that we talk about when it comes to Red Revolution, being an advocate of that, and then fleshing that out in culture. So I would say joining really means to understand our vision and values, which is, together as one, not separate as many. It means that we all are family, not some are family. So it's understanding that paradigm and then fleshing that out. So what does that mean? Adam Thomason is not looking for the African Americans who love the gospel or who don't have the gospel. He's looking for all types of people who love the gospel and don't have the gospel. And he's willing to meet them where they are. And that's what a lot of people aren't willing to do. We are so self-centered. We want to say, hey, what do you have for me that I could use for myself, instead of saying, I'm willing to die to anything that I prefer for the sake of the gospel. So that's how you really flesh it out. And we talk about